When you walk into the Colosseum today, it's a ruin. It's quiet. It's majestic. You take a selfie, you look at the stone arches, and you think about the movie Gladiator. But if you were actually standing there in 80 AD, you wouldn't be thinking about the architecture. You would be trying not to vomit. We tend to romanticize this place, but the reality is, the Colosseum was a highly efficient industrial slaughterhouse. And the scariest thing about it wasn't the swords or the lions, it was the sensory overload. Imagine 50,000 people screaming, the heat of the Roman summer baking the stone, and the overwhelming smell of fresh blood, animal waste, and unwashed bodies. In fact, the stench was so bad that they had a specialized sprinkler system called the Sparciones that sprayed a mist of saffron and rose water over the crowd just to keep people from passing out. That is the Colosseum we're talking about today. Not the movie set, but the gritty, dark reality. A typical day at the games was strictly scheduled. It was like a 3-course meal of violence. And the appetizer? That was the morning hunt, the venatio. Now we think of this as man versus lion. But it was more like a massacre. The Romans were obsessed with the exotic. They wanted to see creatures they had never imagined: rhinos, hippos, giraffes, ostriches. They didn't just kill a few, they killed thousands in a single festival. Trajan once hosted games where 9,000 animals were slaughtered. Here is a dark detail historians don't talk about enough. The Colosseum actually caused an ecological disaster. The Romans hunted the North African elephant and the Atlas bear completely into extinction just to feed the sand of this arena. Entire species were wiped off the face of the earth just for a few hours of applause. By noon, the sun is high. The heat is unbearable. The VIPs go to lunch, and the common people stay in their seats to eat their snacks. This is halftime. And this was actually the most sadistic part of the day. This was the time for the damnatio ad bestias executions. But the Romans had a twisted sense of humor. They didn't just hang people. They turned executions into theater. They called them fatal charades. They would reenact Greek myths using real prisoners. Let's say the myth was about Icarus flying too close to the sun and falling. They would put wings on a prisoner, hoist him up on a crane, and then drop him 100 feet to his death. Or they would dress a man as Orpheus and send him into an arena full of bears. The crowd would be eating their bread, chatting with their neighbors, while watching a real human being get torn apart as a halftime show. That casual cruelty is what makes the Colosseum truly terrifying. And all of this happened on a stage designed to hide the mess. The word arena actually comes from the Latin word harina, which means sand. Why sand? Because it absorbs blood. When the sand got too soggy and red, they would just rake it over with fresh sand and keep going. But the real machine was underneath. If you look at the ruins today, you see that maze of walls exposed in the center. That's the hypogeum. This was backstage. It was hot, dark, and smelled of fear. Hundreds of slaves worked down there, operating complex systems of pulleys and elevators. A gladiator or a lion wouldn't just walk into the arena. They would magically pop up from the floor through trapdoors. Imagine waiting down there in the dark, hearing the muffled roar of 50,000 people above you, knowing that when that trapdoor opens, it's probably the last thing you will ever do. So why did they do it? Were they monsters? The scary truth is no, they were civilized. To the Romans, the arena wasn't just violence, it was order. It was civilization conquering the wild nature. It was the state punishing the wicked. It was a display of absolute control. The Colosseum stands today as a beautiful monument of engineering, but we should never forget that its mortar is mixed with the blood of a million souls. It reminds us that a society can be incredibly advanced, artistic, and sophisticated, and yet completely barbaric at the same time. Thanks for watching. If you want to dig deeper into the dark side of history, make sure to hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.